I mean, I can't get him out of the shop. I mean, if we're in the shop or whatever working on stuff, he is literally there. Power tool. I mean, he's not afraid of nothing and stuff too. So, but yeah, we want to say thank you again, Steve, for listening. Everybody that's listening. If you, like I said, if you want to, you want to get a hold of us, we'll always post on Moxie Media. We'll post on our personal Facebook page. Our phone number for the Moxie Radio is 541-991-2838. If you guys have any, questions, comments, all that type of stuff, and remember, you always can email us, for our next show, and it's moxiemedia2016@gmail.com. Either myself or Corey will get back to you. You can always, hit us up on Moxie page, Messenger, all that. I mean, we have so many resources. I mean, if you guys have, especially, when it starts coming down, I mean, literally, we are a week for some. You're back out at Willamette Speedway, and I asked you, I said, how was it? And you said, I got on the mic a little bit, and you sound checked or whatever, and it just brings back that good time feeling. Like
it does. We were up in the box, and we had, had some of the Moxie crew. We had a prior engagement, couldn't make it, but we were up in the box, and what we did is we brought in a professional sound technician to get up on the mixing board and really dial that thing in. So I think that the race fans at Willamette Speedway will notice a difference in the quality of the sound, the clarity, the crispness, the volume. So that'll be a good thing for the fans at Willamette, because we know when you've got 20 late models or any other race car out there, even the street stocks, there's some noise. So I think this year they're going to get the benefits of just a good quality sound, and that was my whole point, was being out there on practice, up on the mic, was just kind of dial that thing in and get a feel for what it sounded like, and got a lot of compliments. So
right,
it'll be fun.
And that's the thing too, is that we're doing some homework and stuff at Sunset Speedway. We're changing a couple things too. I believe we're going to bring in another updated sound system, so it's going to be a little bit more. If you do come out to Sunset, this is my personal. I've talked to everybody. I've talked to all the crews and everything, and we're bringing some extremely, really, really good ideas. You're going to see me a lot, not just in the booth, not just talking about the races, but we're going to bring the fans. We're going to bring, the kids. We're going to bring you, the fans and drivers and everything, back into, you being there. Because if it wasn't for you, then we wouldn't be able to do what we love. The drivers and stuff appreciate it. The track definitely appreciates it. You, the fans, whatever, you don't just pay your money to sit in the stands and watch cars go around in circles. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to bring to you. So if you come out to Sunset and I put a mic in your face, I'm telling you, that's going to be a lot this year. I'm going to make sure that you guys are having a good time. I'm going to make sure that, things are what you want. All your ideas and everything else. I'm going to go all the way over and turn, 3 and 4 and talk to those guys, because those guys, they sit over there for a reason. Well, guess what?
Well, and I think that's what makes Moxie Media Promotions different, is the stuff we do isn't what the average announcer does. I mean, how many times do you see an announcer go down on the track during a fuel break of a 100-lap feature and bring the drivers
how many people
from right out of the
that?
cockpit? I mean, that's what we're trying to take it to the next level for the fans. We're trying to make it more interactive, bring these guys in, let these guys know who these drivers are and what's going on in the racetrack. We can sit up in the booth and we can talk about track conditions, we can talk about this and that, and that doesn't mean nothing to the average fan.
Right.
It doesn't mean anything, but when you get down the track and you start looking at it and start seeing, hey, look, this is what's doing on top of the racetrack, this is what it's doing, let's talk to the drivers that are on the track, and ask them those questions about what they're doing.
Yeah.
It makes
Get
a
their
difference.
viewpoint. Yeah.
Right, and that's kind of what we do with Moxie, and that's the whole thing, is really making it an interactive experience for not just the fans that have been here for 20 years, 30 years, that understand racing that we do on our level.
It's helping the new fans that are coming.
But it's the average fan that'll never get the chance to sit in a race car, that'll never get a chance to be on a pit crew.
Right.
We can at least bring them onto the track through the driver's cockpit and the drivers that are in the car while they're on the track.
Right. I've had a lot of people come up and say, well, how do they do this? Or what are they thinking when they do that? It's like, well, you know what? Instead of asking me, like what you did, during that 100-lapper, we're at lap 56. We had that caution flag. Where did you go? You're like, hey, I'll be right back. Boom. I stayed up in the tower. You ran all the way across the backstage. People are like, where's Corey going? And the fan reaction, I mean, you watch people, because it was, quote, the halftime break or whatever, getting up to go get something to drink, whatever, stop. And turn around and come back. There was nobody at the concessions. There was nobody in the bathrooms. There was nobody. They're all standing next to the fence listening to the speaker system and going, wow. And then listening to the track conditions, how they had, how the track slicked off, how they didn't have, a certain gear. Second gear or first gear was bad. I mean, all this, they had so much action that you would sit there and you're like, oh, well, they're just going around in circles. They're just chasing each other. Wow, there's a lot more to it. And people were like, whoa, we didn't realize that, the next 48 laps or whatever, it's going to be that intense. And it was. I mean, it literally came down to the last lap of that 100 lap.
That was some great racing.
Oh,
that was some great racing.
Left with, of course, no voice.
No kidding.
That was cool.
And we're going to do a lot more. And by say a lot more, that it's going to be a whole new deal this year. It's going to be way more interactive for the fans, for the teams, for the sponsors. We're really going to do a lot this year. We're trying to step the program up in the Northwest, because I think that looking at the rest of the country, we might be a little bit behind on that kind of deal. So if we can contribute to growing our sport right here in our area, we're going to do everything we can to do that. And it's going to be a fun deal. I mean, we're truly just going to have fun with it.
Absolutely.
We've got some new features that we're not going to quite talk about yet, that we're going to be bringing to you here in the next few weeks as season starts, and we're going to have a lot of fun with it. But race fans, I hope you guys are ready for a new experience in 2016, courtesy of Moxie Media and Corey Penfold, Josh Warbus, for the folks down in California. Something we haven't talked about yet, Mike Patterson, our California correspondent, has just inked a deal with Santa Maria Speedway. He'll be there.
He just actually had a car show too.
Right.
Went really, really well.
And he put that whole deal together, and he had a lot of work into it. But he's got an 8-race gig down at Santa Maria for the late model deal, and they reached out to him and said, hey, look, we like what you guys are doing. They heard him, with me at the Bud Nationals, and former announcer there, and they said, we really want to bring you back and get the crowd back and kind of step it up. So they're bringing Mike back to Santa Maria, and some of the things that we're working on.
News.
Well, we're working on some other things down there for Mike down in California that I think will be a good deal if we can come to terms and get things done. It's been an experience.
Slowly but surely or whatever. I mean, it seems that from the end of the season last year to, we'll talk about right now, has had its ups and downs, has had its challenges, but it always seems to work out. We're not going to tell everything right now. We're telling you, let's say, a quarter of what we want.
Out there, but
it just keeps you listening, right?
Said
end of everything
season.
Now.
You said end of season. When was that? Because we didn't have an off season.
I didn't have an off season. Some people might. I went on vacation for a week, but I was still corresponding back and forth.
Right. And the same with me in Hawaii, talking with you about this and that. Hey, do this, do that, get this done. And it's been a lot of fun. But those were. I do want to give a shout out though. Talking about Steve earlier or whatever too, is the Northwest Sport Mod Challenge. That's something that went from the Northwest Modified Cup to the Sport Mods and stuff. Now that's a new thing too. Chris Frisbee with Frisbee Motorsports, Discount Race Car Parts. They're all involved in that. That's a great thing. They're always looking for more sponsors and stuff coming on. He's got some money ready for those guys. That's another thing that's growing. It's going from track to track to track, and it's growing. That's another thing that's and that's what I was kind of going with when I said that I do not envy what he has to do. Not only does he just do the the A mods, now he's got the sport mods going and this whole deal points thing, and I don't know how he separates his time from real life to that. The guy is.
I believe there's a lot of coffee and a lot of jujubes.
Oh gosh, that guy.
Because either it's caffeine or sugar. Talking
with Steve, you never know. His stress levels have got to be through the roof. Talking with him, you never know. We sat here at the car show and laughed and joked and talked about this, that, and the other thing. And he thanked us for doing what we're doing with Moxie, but doing what he does for the modified guys.
Absolutely.
It's just
and being a great sponsor and stuff for Moxie Media. That's awesome for us too.
Well, and I told him, I said, hey, look, you're working really hard and you're not paid enough. And he looked right at me and says, you know what, man? He goes, this isn't about money. He goes, this is about for the love of the sport. This is about promoting the dirt tracks and the racing here in our area. And he says, I got it in print, actually, it was through text. It says he will never make a dime off what he's doing with the Northwest Modified Cup.
Right.
And that right
it's
there.
It's all going back to the racers.
You don't see that anymore. You don't see people working that hard simply for the love of the game.
Well, it's just like, and I don't want to kind of throw us in there, but it's just kind of like us. We've been racing for, combined years. I started out when I was 6 years old. You started out when you were little stuff too. We followed, racing all of our life. A lot of dirt racing. I've had some, asphalt experience and stuff. Not, like a tenth, if that. But this is our lifestyle. People that don't know, this lifestyle don't understand how dedicated and how much time we put into something to to enjoy. I mean, this is just a hobby. I mean, we're not NASCAR. We're not, big money people. We're not anything like that. We don't do this for the money. We do this to see everybody else and to be able to promote everybody else to make this sport what we want it to be. We want to be, I get kind of emotional because, it's so much fun. The family aspect in it, us together doing the Moxie deal. To be able to talk to somebody and make sure that somebody that didn't know somebody, instead of just going around in circles, they know who Corey Penfold is. They know who Matthew Drager is on the off season. They know who Kenny Miller is. They know the struggles and everything that it takes to get that car from what it is to from where it was to what it is now. That's why I do it. It's just to see people light up and have fun doing what they're doing.
Well, and that's what it is. We, bringing the experience, but it's the same thing for me, Josh. It's when I started Moxie, it was a one-man gig with a whole lot of stuff going on and trying to bring information to the average fan, to the people that we're responsible. I look at it like this: we're responsible for them folks in the stands knowing what's going on at the racetrack at all times. They need to know the difference between a street stock and a super sport, or a mod and
sport mod,
or a late model and a super sport.
Right.
Because anybody can look at those race cars and go, "Oh, that's cool."
Right.
What is it?
And we had that how many times during the car show?
I answered that question about 600 times. Looking at a late model, okay, and this is going back to car show. Mikey Burno's number 15 street stock Camaro placed really close to the number 74 Dan Dybel late model. People are like, oh man, that Camaro, it's a great looking race car, no doubt. They turn and look at Dybel's car, and it's a beautiful race car. I mean, you talk about a quality race car. But I had so many people say, what is that?
Right.
That's a dirt late model. What's a dirt late model? Well, it's a Swartz chassis. This is the Ford engine, and this is the kind of suspension that we're under. And this is how you change the suspension, quick change your end, and explaining the transmissions to them and how they work. People are looking at you like, what?
Yeah, you just fell off the grid.
You're talking a foreign language, but then you start talking about the racing and the excitement. You start drawing these fans in and say, hey, look, the racetrack's 10 minutes away in Lebanon. It's right there. Willamette Speedway, some of the best dirt track racing in the nation. I mean, especially in the western half of the country. We got some big time names, got some big time stars coming out of there, and this is what you want to see these guys. You can see them every Saturday night, April through September,
right?
And fans are going, what? What's it cost to get in? That's it. I mean, you start getting this hype and this
family packs, all that type of stuff. Bring everybody,
and that's kind of what with Moxie Media Promotions, what we try to do. We want to bring the average fan. We want to grow the fan base. We want to grow the car count. We want to grow the sponsors, not just on our show, but at the racetrack, on the cars. I mean, how many times have we promoted the sponsors on those cars?
Right.
We don't have to do that, but we do it because this is what we do.
That's what helps those guys. Because
right.
And you go up to a sponsor. I mean, you and I know too. You go up, and I mean, this is just a glorified hobby for us. We go around and we want to turn around circles and go have fun on a Saturday night.
This isn't the Lucas Oil Dirt Late Model Series. I mean, we're doing
television.
This.
Don't have enough of that. You go up to a sponsor and say, "Hey, look, we want some money to go around circles." What's their first question? What does it do for us?
Right.
We're like, well, you get your name on my car. Well, that's cool. Yeah, right on. Well, if you have an open trailer, well, then that gives you a little bit more advertisement. Blah blah blah. Okay, what from there? So I'm going to give you such a dollar or whatever like that for you to go around circles, and that's it. Well, no. Well, now what happens? Now they have the benefits. We actually have the benefits for them to sit there and talk about them. We talk to a driver. We talk to Drager Performance. We talk about them. We talk about Colin Weinbauer, Discount Race Car Parts, Chris Frisbee Motorsports, what these guys do. Steve Kralovich, Northwest Modified Cup. We talk to these guys that normally people don't see them unless they're at the track. Okay, well, guess what? Now we're at the track. We're talking to you. We're on a Monday afternoon now. Okay, and this is what we do. This is our weekly hobby. And now the race season's here. It's even getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And so that's the cool part. That helps these guys, because without word of mouth, nothing's going to go nowhere.
It's free advertising.
Yeah, right. I mean, if you guys want to shoot us a little bit something, hey, we like coffee from Dutch Brothers and Starbucks. But no, this is something that on my personal level, I love to do. I love to see.
Well, we wouldn't do it if we didn't.
Absolutely,
that's just what it is. I mean, racing. Whether you're in a car, or you're in the announcer's booth, we're still a part of the game. We're having fun doing it, and You know,
I'd love to be back in a car, but you know what? This is so much fun too.
well, and the thing about it is the relationships we develop with the race teams,
Right.
you know, and they kind of keep everybody posted, and that's kind of what we do. We keep, you know,